you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm so excited to host the series of hope again today, to offer you, the listener, the inspiration that possibly there is something that you're going to hear today that's going to change your life. And that is exactly what you needed to hear. So my first guest today is Janet White, and I'm going to do something differently that I normally don't do. Normally, I introduce the person to you by sharing some of their background and bio, and I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to ask Janet White to come on. Welcome, Janet White, to the show. And why don't you tell all of us a little about yourself, what it is that you do, and what you want to highlight on today's show?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I am, again, Janet White, and I'm a registered nurse and a certified coach. And I spent years, decades in the healthcare as a healthcare administrator, leader. But I checked out of the corporate world a few years ago and decided to become a coach because so many people need to figure out what they want to do when they grow up and what they're going to do with this one short life. My background includes being in a toxic relationship for way too long. I got out of that and then I drank to medicate and to ease into the transition. And I got off alcohol and it changed my life. And I said, you know what? We need to stop focusing on trying to medicate and embrace our own embrace ourselves, self-acceptance, self-esteem. Let's be healthy, let's be the best versions of ourselves that we can be, and we need to heal from these things in the past, but we need to move forward. So that's my message, and that's what I share with my people.
Yeah, I just love that. It's very inspiring and electrifying what you're sharing and real. You also wrote a book. Let us see the book and hear about the book.
Yeah, so it's called Finding Bliss Beyond the Buzz, and you can find it on Amazon or anywhere. It's basically my life story. So it's pretty raw. It kind of goes through the abuse, it goes through the marriage, it goes through me leaving, it goes through the alcohol, all the things I did to get through with that. I had a bout with cancer, a lot of grief. So it's kind of my story at the beginning all the way till what I'm doing now. And the end of the book is kind of a, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. And here's how. And this is kind of what I did to heal myself, to get myself to a place where I started prioritizing my self-care and started taking care of me. And so my goal is to get other people to that point and help them see the value in making sure that you are living your values and doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and so you're still a caregiver, you're still a caretaker, but you're just doing it in a different way now. You're doing a whole different structure and support in the way that you're offering it by really focusing on the self. So there's a lot of things that you said that I want to ask you about, but let's start with the alcoholism because uh, that is a really important subject. I think for where we are right now as a human race, as an evolution, but also where it is that we're going. I feel that as more and more of us are aligned with wanting to stay healthy, going deeper into self-care, wanting to live longer and healthier and happier, and as we're co-creating our new world, we get to choose and decide, do we want to have alcohol as part of our future? And do we want to have that, to be here, because how long has alcoholism been around? What is it about? What is it for? Why are we drinking?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure this is what I want to ask you about. Like, when you, how much were you drinking every day? or were you drinking every day?
So the interesting piece, and I think I'm a registered nurse, and I didn't do alcoholism or any kind of mental health. I was in the cardiac field, so it's a little bit of a switch. But to me, the word alcoholism is kind of overused or ancient, and so I just want to say that I'm really focused on the middle lane drinker. I don't ever consider I don't consider that I was an alcoholic, even though I drank most days. I
Mm.
think today it is so commonplace. Alcohol is pushed on us. If you are feeling happy, have a drink. If you're feeling sad, you deserve a drink. I mean, you can't go to a football game without having a beer. You can't go to a restaurant. Champagnes and drinks at baby showers, for goodness sake. We just, our society is so filled. So I'm speaking to the people who are functioning every day. They go to work. I never had a DUI. I never hit rock bottom or any of that. But I know that I was drinking too much. 2 or 3 glasses of wine a night, sometimes a little more, having more cocktails on the weekend, those kind of things. I just ended up realizing this is just not healthy. And I couldn't meet my fitness goals. I couldn't meet my weight loss goals. I mean, it does so many things to us. Not to mention, we think that it reduces our anxiety when in fact the chemicals in it produce anxiety. Your sleep is bad. I mean, I could just go on and on and on a million reasons why taking alcohol out of your life really does make a huge impact on your health. So yeah, I can't help the people who are truly, addicted to alcohol and need support in that bigger way. But there's a lot of us, and with a general consensus that we are probably drinking too much. And that those are the people that I'm really focused on.
So that's cool. That's cool that it's not, you're not going to the complete opposite of not, you're still, you're, like you said, you staying in the middle lane. You're supporting people in the middle that just want to, cut back and not drink so much. Did you go to look at the reason why you were drinking every day? Was that something that you did in your own discovery process?
Yeah. So I don't drink at all. I haven't had anything to drink in 4.5 years. And that is what I think is best for me personally. I think that everyone has to make the choice what their relationship with alcohol is. And my focus is usually to say, first try and take a break. Take a 30-day, take a 60-day, and see if you don't feel better. I think for me, some of the reasons were I had lived in a toxic marriage for 25 years. It was very difficult. And when I finally got out, I realized that so much of that negative self-talk that we have, that little critic in our head that tells us we're no good and we're not smart, was also his voice. And so it took a lot of work for me to get past feeling bad about myself and negative. So I know that alcohol played a role in that. The other piece was the grief. I lost my mom, I lost my sister, and you push through life. Things happen to you over the years, and if you don't address those and you just numb with, and it doesn't have to be alcohol. It could be shopping, it could be working, it could be whatever it is. But if we don't stop and address those needs and those hurts, and then we just keep medicating. So yeah, I think that that's probably one of the biggest things that helped. I think that the help and my catalyst was actually when my grandbaby was born.
Mm.
So when she was born, I was like, oh man, what I'm doing, it cannot be healthy. And I want to be around for her. I want to be a good example for her. I want to feel good. I want to be able to get down on the floor and play with toys and slide on the slide or whatever. So drinking just it wasn't a good part of that. And so getting that out of my system has again changed my life.
So how long since you hadn't been in the toxic relationship?
It's been about 15, 16 years.
So that was first to go, and then the
Yes.
second thing to go was your corporate career, and your, that was the second thing because you were also experiencing toxic energy there.
Yeah. Yeah.
which then led you to address the alcohol situation, the toxins in your own life. And
Yes.
now, basically, uh, if I understand correctly, you're living toxin free because you're not consuming any alcohol, and you're helping people live and live in their bliss state, and as you are living in that state, or that is a continuous practice to live in bliss, not in toxins.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the way you said that. That's I hadn't really, put it together like that. But yeah, that's kind of the timeline and how it happened. And I think there was a weight loss piece that happened in the middle. Also, I fell in love with exercise. So as you said, it's a process and it's been a journey of self-development and learning how to take care of myself, what to eat, how to exercise. It's all the things. It's not one thing, but alcohol clouds so much of it because when you drink, do you feel like having the healthy meal or ordering a pizza? Do you feel like going down to the gym or sitting around watching Netflix? I mean, you don't sleep as well, so you're not as fresh for the next day. So I realized it really was holding me back in so many ways. And the aging piece, we're spending billions of dollars trying to get the anti-aging, the youth fountain of youth. And I tell you, if you just take alcohol out of your life, it's going to add years back. So
I mean,
that's a
that's a number one. That would be a number one reason, especially for anyone over 40 or 50, heading into the second part in their life and making different choices, healthier habits. I feel like, do you get a lot of resistance from like when you said, cut it out? I really like that approach when you said, cut it out for 30 days or 60 days. Do you get resistance from people doing that?
Yeah, it's interesting. People will find all kinds of reasons why. Oh, I don't drink that much. That's what I usually hear.
Yeah.
Well, I don't drink that much. Okay, that's fine. Well, if you don't drink that much, it's going to be pretty easy for you to just quit for 30 days. And sometimes the resistance is denial in that, oh my goodness, they don't even realize how frequently they use alcohol. And it's so prevalent in our society. And in fact, you are looked at like something's wrong with you if you don't drink. So it's the only drug that we have to justify quitting. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Because
I think
yeah.
that that's probably the resistance is a lot of times they don't even realize. They know they're not sleeping good. They know they're not losing weight. They're happy to call me and get help with their weight loss program or with their nutrition or any of the other things that I coach on. But when I say, "Hey, have you thought about alcohol? Removing alcohol?" It's like, "What? Oh, I don't drink that much. I'm not an alcoholic." That every single one of them, that's okay. Neither was I. But look, it changed my life. It's so beneficial. You don't have to be an alcoholic to quit drinking.
That's so good. That's so good. I totally can see it. And I also can see the denial and how people justify, to want to keep it going, because really, in truth, what it comes down to is I don't want to.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's the truth. I don't want to. But I know what you mean by, people saying, experiencing the resistance, and people is, being in denial about it. I wrote a book on anger and how peace is the flip side to anger. And
Mm.
when I was promoting that book out, to the public, from many, many people, I heard, "Oh, I don't have anger. This I don't have anger. This would be good for my son, or this would be good for
Yeah.
my cousin, or this would I don't have any anger." And I published that book back in 2015, and so uh, again, it's anger is a very raw emotion, and I can't imagine one person on the planet today that isn't angry about something in their life. You know what I'm saying? So it was that they don't want to look at that self denial, that they keep, to justify their behaviors and their habits. So you said that you're coaching people on weight loss, you're coaching people on nutrition, you're coaching people on exercise. So what does it look like to get a session with you? How does all of that work? Like,
Yeah, so I go live on Facebook every Sunday at 8 a.m. with my Sober Sundays, and I talk about all kinds of topics. It's not just alcohol. This week is self-acceptance. So, I think you've got to focus on the whole package. So whatever a person is needing, and my kind of like my tagline is learning to say no to the things, the people, and the beliefs that no longer serve you. So, whichever category that falls in for you, whatever starting point you want, I usually do a 30-minute free 30-minute chemistry. You call, let's do a little Zoom, see if it's a good fit. What are you looking for? What I'll show you I'm just who I am. So maybe I can help. And then we can and go from there to schedule coaching. So
Yeah, I love that. Now, what is your Facebook? How can people look you up? What's your social media handle?
it is Bliss Beyond the Buzz. So the I'm Bliss Beyond the Buzz at Facebook, at Instagram. That's my website. If you can remember Bliss Beyond the Buzz, you can find me.
Oh, good. I definitely want to connect with you on Facebook. I want to check out your lives. I think that's brilliant the way that you're you know showing up weekly on a consistent basis where people can get to know you better and really listen to your messages and your inspiration on what you're doing. I think it's wonderful what you're doing in at this stage in your life, and that you're empowering and inspiring people to live better.
I tell you, I really love it, and it's such a change from, I spent years and years building my career, and some may look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, you walk away from that kind of job and do this?" But, when you get these responses and you hear people say, "Wow, Janet, that really made a change in my life. I'm so glad," or "I'm sober because of you. I quit for 30 days and I felt so much better. I just never went back." I mean, so many, it's very rewarding. So,
Yeah. Well, Janet, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Cornelia Stephanie show today. It's a wonderful pleasure to meet you. We're definitely going to make sure that we're connected on Facebook
okay,
too. So friend me there. So that would help me a lot. And
I'll
we're going to take a break right now. We're going to be right back. We'll Welcome back, everyone. I'm super excited to introduce you to Amarilis Correa. Welcome to the show today, Amarilis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, you just dropped a bomb in the green room about what you were talking about, what you did, and I know you're going to tell us. But let's introduce yourself. Give us a little background about what you do for a living, who you are today, and just so that we can get to know you a little better.
Sure. So I actually own a travel agency called Ace Travels. I specialize in curating culturally immersive travel experience for clients. I tend to do a lot of groups, but I also work with individual clients curating their dream experiences, their dream vacations. I've been doing that for like the last 4 years. Prior to that, I worked in corporate America, but I feel like I today I'm on my soul's path. So
Yeah. Setting up people's dreams vacations for them, do you feel that that's your soul's path?
I maybe not that specifically, but more just I like to say I'm culturally curious. I love learning about other places, other cultures, other people. I like to understand what makes them tick and why, and how their culture influences a lot of the decisions that they make. I ultimately think that when you travel that way, it opens your mind, it shifts your perspective, and ultimately I think it makes all of us more compassionate, and we need more of that in our world today.
Yeah, and it really, it gives us an opportunity to, uh, learn about each other, to learn to connect in ways that we normally wouldn't by just
Exactly.
being exposed to one culture, right?
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, the more you travel and you start to learn other cultures, you realize that as different as we are in terms of our food, our music, our traditions, our values, we're actually all very similar. Like at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all have the same basic needs and we're all looking for the same things. We want love, security, family. So we're really not as different as I think we all think we are.
Yeah, we definitely as a human race have a lot in common, and it's pretty much
Exactly.
the basic, you know, simple ways on connecting and making sure that we all have our needs met and we want to belong. We
Exactly.
want to belong. We want to
Yeah.
belong. I think, you know, being part of a community, belonging to a community is a really important thing. So that's would certainly end all the loneliness
Oh,
that people are feeling, right?
it makes such a difference in this world. I'm telling you, just like y- eh, the other thing you realize when you travel that way is that most people are inherently good. You know, I think in the media landscape that that surrounds us today, all you hear all the negative things that are going on in the world, and it tends to scare people sometimes from getting out there. And as you travel more and more, you meet way more good people than you do not so good people. So
Yeah. I mean, that's really beautiful. It's true. When we look at it in that way, we see that people are inherently good. That's
yes,
we have that. And if we can remember that, and that would be the thing that we have in common, right? Because I'm good,
exactly.
you're good, and now we can connect on that level.
Yeah, let's exchange.
Yes. So you were telling me in the green room when I was asking you, what do you want to highlight on today's topic? You were saying that.
So I was sharing that several years back, about 8 years ago, at the time I was living in Mexico City, and I was living and working there, and I was in my office one day, just casually working away, and I started to feel something was off. My one part of my face kind of was felt paralyzed. I was seeing, like, I couldn't see peripherally out of that side of my face. And I started to just feel like something wasn't right. I told my job or my colleagues at the time, they called an ambulance. I was rushed to the hospital and only to find out that I had a neurosurgeon coming with a team of people to tell me that I had a cyst growing in my frontal right lobe and I needed to have immediate surgery to have it removed. Um, at 30 something years old, I was like, wait, what? Like, where is this coming from? And of course, my family was like, you are not having surgery in Mexico. You are coming back to the United States. So at the time, I was living in New York. Well, I was living in Mexico City, but my family is originally from Connecticut. So I had lived in New York for some period of time. And I had good friends there who had worked out an appointment with a neurosurgeon in New York. Went back to Connecticut, went to meet with the neurosurgeon. He agreed with everything that my Mexico doctors had given me or had told me. And I was a week, not even a week later, I was in surgery, having brain surgery to remove this cyst. Given certain ways that it was growing, because it had filled up, it was like a sac and it was filling up with liquid. And the way it was attached, they couldn't remove it. So I had my surgery. I had to go through therapy afterwards to kind of get back into being able to like function and so forth. And soon after that, I started having seizures. And then I
Mm.
decided that I was going back to Mexico because I was happy there and I wanted to go back to my job. I wanted to go back to my life. So as soon as I was recovered, I went back. And then a year a year after my first surgery, I had an incident again and I had to go back to the doctors. I was told you need to have another surgery. It's grown again. So I underwent a second surgery. This time the recovery wasn't as easy. It took a little longer. And I was basically being told by doctors, like, we're going to need to do a third extensive and more invasive surgery because this is just going to keep happening each year. And obviously, you're not going to want to keep having surgery every year. And so I was kind of like seeing the results of the second surgery and how much physical therapy and just occupational therapy I needed to go through. I was like, I can't go through a third surgery. Like, I just can't do it. And I went to see multiple neurosurgeons, just trying to get other opinions to see if there was another way that we could go about doing this. And they all agreed with my primary neurosurgeon. And in that moment, I just made a decision that I was not going to have the surgery and that I was going to, I don't know, and I don't know that I said to myself, I'm going to heal it myself in that moment, but I just felt like if I don't give this life, if I don't feed into it, then maybe it just won't grow, right? Because I think in the process of the 2 years where I was going to all these doctors and going through this process, I found myself living in this state of victimhood where I was like, woe is me, why is this happening to me? And I was ashamed to say this for a long time, but I think this is part of the growth process. I felt like I was almost thriving in the pity that I got from others. Like I enjoyed it, not enjoyed it. Maybe that's not the right word, but it made me feel better for whatever reason. And I caught myself at one point. I was like, this is not the person I want to become. I don't want to be this person who is like enjoying, you know, the sorrow, the pity and the, oh, I'm so sorry and this from other people. I That had never been me before. I didn't want to become that. And I decided in that moment, I was like, I'm not going to have another surgery. I'm not going to continue talking about this experience in my life. I do believe that what you focus on expands. And so I decided I wasn't going to focus on it. I wasn't going to talk about it. I wasn't going to feed it. I wasn't going to give it life. I wasn't going to give it my energy. And that was the decision I made. I stopped talking about it. I stopped when anybody would ask, I would say I was feeling fine and just switch the conversation to another topic. And I genuinely believe that I healed myself. It's 8 years later. It's never grown back. I haven't had a seizure in 5 years. I I just, and so when people say like, you don't have the ability to heal yourself, you do. You really genuinely do. It takes work, it takes intention, but your mind is a powerful, powerful thing. And your thoughts, they they create your reality. They really, really do. I know it sounds so like woo woo, I guess, is that the way to say like how people say it? But um no one can tell me that I didn't heal myself. No one. No one can tell me.
I that's so good. No one can tell me that I didn't heal myself. That's so good. You know, uh, the way that you articulated this story is that in that moment when they told you you were going to have a third surgery, and how in that moment you said, no, I'm not doing this. And you said it perfectly, because you were a victim in it, and then you also got a lot of attention, and that is not how you wanted to get attention.
No.
You didn't want that. You didn't want to sacrifice your body, your life, to get that type of attention. You don't need to. You can get attention in a positive way, in an empowering way, and that way, right, in an inspirational way, but not to sacrifice your health for that.
Exactly.
But I think going back to that moment, your inner self, your higher self, your empowered self said, you got this. And even though you didn't know that for sure yet, in the what do you call it, the alternative healing or health or woo woo, uh, you didn't know, but that was so clear to you that nope, I got this. No, I'm going to heal myself. No, I'm not going to have another surgery. And that was the empowerment that that situation gave you, which now you've been 8 years, 9 years free.
8 years, yeah. And to be honest with you, I think that situation, I had already had dealings with my or situations where my intuition had kind of kicked in and told me like, you need to do this. And I think the first time that ever really happened, it scared me and I shied away from it. And then there were other incidents after that where my intuition was very loud and clear. And then fast forward to this situation with my medical issues, and my intuition was very loud and clear again. And I think if anything, it's made me lean into it and trust it so much more now, that I just know, I feel it like in my sacral. Like I just know when that higher self, when my higher self is talking to me and is telling me like, do not, or do, like, and I listen to it very much so now.
Yeah, what a gift, what a gift, what a gift. I mean, and the fact that you're a travel agent, you're helping people create amazing experiences around the world. Then you have this belief of self-healing. You've healed yourself. Nobody's going to be able to tell you any different. Not the government, not the doctor, not this person, not that person, not these people. And that to me is the ultimate freedom of
It is. It
being
really is.
being in your health, being in your wealth, being in your autonomy, and being in your authority.
Mhm.
You know.
And trusting it with, blindly, and just knowing.
Oh my gosh. So, how can people find you, look you up? Are you? I mean, this topic that we talked about today is really about self healing. But how can people look you up and follow you on social media or learn
Oh.
more about the travel business?
I can be found at on Facebook at Ace Travels. I actually have a Facebook group called Ace Travels Cultural Passport, and I talk about all things culture, experiences, groups I'm leading, etc. I'm also on Instagram at Ace Travels as well, and you can find me on TikTok as Ace Travels also.
I think this is so great. I definitely want to connect with you on Facebook. I definitely want to be involved in your travel
Oh,
business, and yeah, I definitely want to look into that. I think it's wonderful what you shared today and the way that you shared it. Really, and really, well done you for listening to yourself and trusting your intuition, listening to that inner voice. I can relate to the the belief that the physical body has the ability to self regenerate and self heal. We all have that. Our physical body has the ability. We just have to believe it, and we
yep,
have to know it. And really, that's what it comes down to. And you overrode, uh, you know, the narrative. You overrode it with your own internal knowing, and that is empowerment to the fullest. So, Amarilis,
absolutely.
thank you so much for coming on. You're beautiful. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing.
Likewise.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh my gosh, the inspiration just keeps going. I'm just feeling so inspired by all our guests as usual, which is one of the reasons why I love having these incredible shows. I get to meet incredible people like Jennifer Winkelman. Welcome to the show today, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me. It's a great honor to be part of your podcast, and especially for Inspiration of Hope, because that is one of the backbones of our group. And our group is Girl Talk of Age, which is a nationwide group. And it got started 5 years ago with the intention to build sisterhood and support and connections for women across the country. And then,
Yeah, I was going to say, so Girl Talk of Age, is there an age group or is that any age?
yeah, actually, thank you for asking. So the of age is everyone in the group is of age. So everyone is 21 and up. That way, for a couple reasons. One, we're not influencing anybody of the younger age. If anybody does want to drink or swear or anything at any of our social in-person events, we don't have to worry about the influence. But also on the other aspect, for the girl talk age is women just need to have women time. And so mothers need to be able to have a break from their children. And sometimes we just need to have that from our home lives. And if somebody is in a toxic situation, this allows them to have a safe space to come to. And it is just going to be women 21 and up. So they'll feel safe and protected to come say and do whatever they want within our group. So, and the girl talk part is because women need women, and we don't realize how much we need women until we don't have those connections in our life. And the pandemic also really showed that, as we became closed in and we didn't have that connection. So our online group aspect was great because we still could stay in touch and do face-to-face things. But when you're in person with your girlfriends, there's that bond that is like no other. So those are the connections that we put together, and we're building off that in many ways. Now we have a few different programs already in place, and we have more programs that we're working on for the future. And we've started local chapters so we can start meeting in person and forming friendships, but also community outreach. So our first local chapter just celebrated 1 year. And we have 2 very active chapters. We have 6 currently, and we're just going to continue to keep building them. But we've done great things within the community. We've already had a couple of community cleanups where we go and pick up the trash alongside the road. And we have now gotten involved with the food bank, which is really great and rewarding and super fun as well. We do sip and shops with local female business owners to support their businesses, get women into their stores, and then they also get special discounts and get to mingle and meet. Because as we get older, we realize sisterhood is so much more important. However, it seems to also become harder and harder to break that shell of making new friends. And I've been a social butterfly my whole entire life. And so that came very easy to me. I was also in Girl Scouts. And so it was instilled from me in a very young age, make new friends, keep the old, some are silver and some are gold. So as we grow and as we change and as we want to try new hobbies, we need new friends. And this is a great opportunity for people to get together, make connections, get support, get input from somebody who's not already in their everyday world or willing to guide them in a new hobby. So
So is this your baby? Are you the founder of this
Mhm.
fabulous
this,
group? This
yeah,
fabulous
this
group?
is my baby. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I was in a place where 6 years ago, I had called the suicide hotline. I was in a bad place. And that's one of the things that makes my ability to grow this group with support is because of my experiences. I've had a lot of great ones as well, but I've also experienced trauma. I've experienced grief. And those things open up a different level of compassion and empathy. And so when you're building a support group, having somebody who has a lot of experiences makes it more comfortable for people to talk about their experiences, and we all can bring different experiences. So we all help each other grow in different ways. And that's one of the big thing that our group is about too. We're healing and growing together, but we're doing it in fun ways. So that is kind of what led me to start wanting to build a group. Also, I traveled nationwide for over 15 years. I did the auto shows and I was able to meet an amazing amount of people. I did a lot of other tour life where, again, great experiences. I worked the Super Bowl, I've worked All-Star games, I've worked rock shows, I've worked country shows. So across the board, I have a lot of experiences, which opens up the door to bring in that many more women from across the country from different experiences and walks of life. So
That's
I
so
wanted yeah, I wanted to get something started. And then actually my cousin, who is my motivator, the one who pushed me to get the group started, and she helps run and lead the group with me, Lisa. And she actually she's a full-time RN nurse, and so she's always helping people as well. And she has the great sisterhood bond. And so we were talking about it, and she started selling a makeup for the purpose of being able to get it at a discount, but also because the mission behind it was to help women. So she was like, would you be willing to do your makeup on your Facebook page? And I was like, Absolutely not. Like, no way. The confidence that that would take to take my makeup off and put it on, and do it live in front of everyone. I was like, I no, and guys just do not care about makeup. And so I was like, but I've been wanting to like a way to connect all my girlfriends, and we could do our makeup for them, and you could do it. So when we first got started, that was one of the things that she did to interact with the group was she would take requests of how would you like to learn how to do this type of makeup, and she would jump on and just teach it. And there was no pressure to buy. There was no because it is a no pressure for our whole group. Everything that we want you to do, there's going to be things that don't mesh well with your interests or your world, and that's okay, because there's going to be other things that do, because it takes all kinds of women and all kinds of experiences to make a better world. And that's what we're doing, connecting on a daily
Wow.
basis.
How do women get involved? Like, how does a person like myself become
Um,
involved?
So mainly we do a lot on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, our Facebook group, Girl Talk of Age, it is a private group. If you're a female and you're 21 and you're in the United States, you qualify. So we would love to have you. And then you can also go to our website, girltalkofage.com, and we will be uploading all of our upcoming events on there as well. So if you would love to get involved, we have, like I said, we have so many things that we're working on in the progress, and we would love to have as many women involved. And we do have different things that we focus on throughout the week. So we try to just tag on Motivation Monday, Tips and Tricks Tuesday, What Do You Want Wednesday, what's your favorite thing on Friday, Self-Care Sunday. And then we do offer discounts from some companies that I've been working for influencer deals with. So we have Dog Mom Monday, which we get a 20% discount for dog mom gear, and then 10% goes to saving homeless dogs. And then we have a discount with a clothing company, which I'm wearing some of right now, and 20% off for our girls. And we do Fashion Friday. So you pick, do you like this or that? And then you're entered into a raffle to either win bigger discounts than our 20% or free items. So each month is different, which our giveaways are. So
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So are the women, the girls, are they involved and are they loving being part of a community? Because I know that most of us want to belong to a sisterhood, a community. And so are
yeah.
you finding that that is the case?
Yeah, so especially online, there was a presence. But once we started the local in-person groups, you really feel it and you see it. For the last few years, when I go to one friend's Facebook page, I'm like, oh my gosh, they connected. And the only way they could have connected was Girl Talk. And this is great. This is so empowering. But then the friendships that have been made, not only nationwide, like I said, in person, there has been friendships where we just met up last week, non-Girl Talk, and got lettuce and dinner. Like, we share from our gardens with each other. But we not only, like I said, the in-person, at first, I think people get a little nervous that they have to explain who they are. But then by the end of the meeting, people are so relaxed and so building friendships and bonds with each other. And some have even said, oh, this is great. This is better than going to a therapy meeting, because when you do build that connection and experiences with somebody else, when you're like, oh, that's great, it really does take into a whole nother level. And we are just continuing more and more events. We keep adding them. And so I do think that what you are saying, like, it grows. They're so excited about actually having the in-person, because when I moved here, I moved during the pandemic. So I live in a really small town. There's about 1,500 people in the county. And 2 years in, I really still didn't have that many girlfriends. And so I put out there for Women's Day, how many women business owners are there to honor them? And that took off like wildfire. There's 90% women business owners in our town. So I was like, well, if there's that many women who own businesses, there's got to be other women in my shoes that would feel semi-new and like to meet new people. So I put that out there, and yes, that took off as well. So then a month later, we started the monthly meet and greets, and we meet every month for 2 hours. And then we do our other local events as well throughout the month. So
Well, I think this is just brilliant what you've done and what you're doing, and how this is going to continue on growing and expanding. I also live in a small town. I live in LaConner, Washington, and in our community, um, we have about 3,000 people. So we don't even have a stoplight here in the
mm,
community. Not a stoplight. We have uh, one street that has all the shops. We're also a tourist town, a romantic, sleepy fisherman tourist town, because we have the tulips, but we have all the fields and the beautiful views. We're close to the Cascades, and we're close to the San Juan Islands, and we've got a lot of attractions. Um, but I can see how having something like what you're offering here in this community would be really, really beneficial. So definitely, let's you and I certainly connect and seeing how I can get, something like this started here, from what you've already created and what you've already put together. Because I can see how this is so important. I personally myself have worked for years and years online for like the last 14 years, 15 years online. And I know how important it is to have the physical connection, and how much, I missed that. I didn't even realize that, how much I missed having a physical connection and what that does to the human spirit. So
it-
I totally understand. And women, we support each other. So
mhm.
I think it's brilliant what you've put together, and I certainly would love to speak with you again outside of this podcast.
Absolutely, I would love that. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
So let's give all your handles again to everybody, like where people can find you, where they can learn more about what it is that you do, and how they can get involved.
Okay. So the best way to reach out, if you have Facebook, join us on Facebook. We have a group, Girl Talk of Age. And then we are also on Instagram, but we also have our website, girltalkofage.com. And then you can always email me directly at girltalkofage@gmail.com. And we would love to have you get involved, and we can start building small groups of just a couple people in your local town if you are interested. So if you are interested, please reach out. We would love to have you join our group.
Yeah, I think that's great, and it all sounds like, because everything's already been created, you already have the templates, you already have the models of what to do. So it's not like it will take a lot, and like you said, once you put it out there, it's probably already waiting for you.
I
So
think
what
it
is
is.
your vision? What's your dream about your baby that you created? What do you see happening?
So my overall biggest vision, I guess, would be to have this be like a sorority, but everybody is welcome, and it's for women 21 and up. And so it's because with our programs that we have already in place and the ones that we're creating, like getting women out of toxic situations, if we had a house that we had our meetings at in each city, we could not only do our crafts like making our cancer bracelets, writing our cards for our snail mail programs, but also have a space to get women from one location and relocate them to a different area. So I guess the bigger vision overall is have a local chapter in as many cities as we can across the country to be able to have support building in each community. So that is my main vision.
Beautiful. I think, work on, being really, really clear about your vision, because I can certainly see that that is happening. And if we don't have a vision, then what is it all for? We have to have the vision. So, Jennifer, I just think it's phenomenal what you're doing. I'm going to be contacting you. We'll definitely connect on Facebook. And thank you so much for coming on the show today and doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll see you again next time. Take good care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.